Hello, Think Natalia community. Today I have the honor of interviewing another amazing human being, a client who also turned into a friend. Her name is Mariana Traxel. She is also known as the Marketing Gladiator. If you're active on LinkedIn, I'm very sure you've seen her huge helmet, and we're going to see more of that very soon. Mariana is a social selling expert, and for everybody's like, social what? Basically, it's digital selling. So Mariana, thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
You're most welcome. Tell us a little bit more. What is social selling? Because I know a lot of people don't understand it, or they believe that social selling means selling for nonprofit organizations.
Well, yeah, it's not actually. What I do actually is I do help business-to-business companies to grow and to get and to generate new customers through social media. It can happen through LinkedIn. It can also happen, especially in the German-speaking region, through Xing. But some also might want to use YouTube, and most of them also forget to use, for example, Google My Business. And most of them are not on Instagram. And the companies I work with are small and mid-sized companies. So they have they're afraid actually a little bit of getting in touch with people through social media. And what I do is I try to banish all these fears and to encourage them to do some business through social media. Now we're talking about LinkedIn having 700 million users at the moment. We're talking now May 2020, which means by, I don't know, the end of this year or next year, or when, I don't know, in 5 or 3 years from now, it will be much more than that. So if someone tells me that my customer is not on LinkedIn or my customer is not on social media, and then again I say, okay, we have 700 million today. YouTube is the second largest search engine worldwide, and it belongs to Google, and Google is #1. So how come you're telling me that? Are you really serious about telling me that your audience or your potential customers are not on social media? And this is actually what I do.
I love it. I mean, I also regularly have this discussion, and then I show people some statistics like, hey, we have 8 billion people and approximately 50% of these individuals are active on social. And then they're usually like,
Exactly. This is also what I get, every now and then. Of course, you have some companies telling you and me as well, most probably, I'm in a very specific niche and my people are not on social media. And you say, okay, listen, people are on social media, whether it's private or whether it's like for business reasons, but most of them are both, like equally. So you can be on Facebook because you want to, I don't know, see cat videos or anything like that, but still you are on social media. And if you are on platforms like LinkedIn, for example, then you are on that platform to do business. So you want to read and talk about business. If you go, for example, to Google, if you go to YouTube, you might want to see a video. This is the only reason why people go to YouTube, either because they want to learn something or because they want to get entertained, but only through video. Now, that's what I said just for LinkedIn and Xing as well. If you are on these platforms, you are there to do business. So what you can do best is do business on those platforms where your customers are and get in touch with them.
No, I fully agree with you. Tell us the story behind the Marketing Gladiator. Why on earth Marketing Gladiator? What does that mean?
Actually, to make a really long story short, because otherwise we will spend, I don't know, hours and hours. I have been talking to a friend of mine who has a really creative mind. And I was really struggling about finding a name for myself and what I do. And then I figure out then if you take a look at LinkedIn and Xing, there are millions of people call themselves experts. And then I have talked to some of them and say, okay, this is far away from being an expert. And then you have Yodas and you have, I don't know, gurus, you have coaches and gurus and a lot of things that were going on there, which is like, okay, this is saying nothing. And it's like copy pasting everyone from everyone. So I was talking to that guy and he said, well, we need to find something that fits to you. And I was like, yeah, we need to find something that really fits to me, because expert doesn't match at all. I have a lot of knowledge, but then again, it's not enough, especially not if I have to compare to other experts. So he said, well, if I just nail it down to what you are and what you do and the way you work, you're a fighter. And I was like, yeah, especially when it comes to your roots. You're in Argentina, you were born there. So the your temper is like kind of a little bit different towards like the German ones that you work
Kind of.
with, right? And I was like, yeah, a little bit. And he said, well, if you were a man, we would need to do something with football, like Maradona, because everyone knows that guy, and Messi. And I was like, yeah, but I'm not. So, and I won't have any kind of operation.
Because
So,
of that,
no, not going to happen. So we need to go for something else. And he was say, yeah, then we need to start thinking about how do we put this fighter thing into your profile. And believe it or not, but then somehow the gladiator came up and said, you're a gladiator because you have your weapons. Like your weapons is like the social channels that you're having, that you're using, and you're fighting like almost everything, competitors and misbeliefs and a lot of other things that came along with it. And I love that. I really love that idea of saying, okay, I'm a gladiator, I'm really a fighter. I go with everyone, I build up a team, and then we fight whatever is in front of us just to get to our target. And the gladiator was born, and here I am.
Nice one. I like that story. So you are the expert on social. So why on earth did you decide to work with me focusing on LinkedIn?
When I first started, and we're talking about almost 3/4 of a year ago, I had the idea of what I wanted to do and how I wanted to do it, but I didn't know how to start. I knew everything. I knew everything about social media. I knew about the customers that I wanted to have. But then again, I thought I really need someone helping me, supporting me, like I will support and help other people with my knowledge. So I was looking for someone, an expert actually, to be honest, who could help me and be with me and not only just help me in a passive way, but also actively helping me with my problems, with my special being, all right? And believe it or not, then again, I was in LA and I talked to a few people that like Judy Fox. And I also talked to, I forgot her name. Chang is the second name. I forgot the first name. It's Goldie, exactly. I met her also at the VidCon, and I talked to them both, and both are also in a similar field as you are. And I never met you. I just met them. And believe it or not, they were talking about you, but the way they talked about you, I was like, I think that it might fit a bit better for me rather than them. So although I met them in person, and although they have had the possibility to gain me as a customer, I didn't feel as well as I did for the first time when we first talked, our first 15 minutes, even though I have not seen you because we didn't have the camera on, but I felt much more understood for what I wanted and for what I needed. And especially because of that moment, because I haven't even know what I really wanted or needed in that way until you just helped me out and took me by the hand and say, come on, I'm gonna go with you. I'm gonna be with you, and I'm gonna be like your buddy. And this is what I like so much. And that's why I started working with you instead of working with them. Best decision ever.
Story. Woo!
Best decision ever. If I had not, I just posted, I think just a few days ago, if I had not done it and I had the same opportunity to do that again, I would even sign my contract even faster.
You're so kind and cute.
That's true. I'm a gladiator. I always say the truth.
Yeah, for sure. It's part of your brand. I'm thinking of other funny stories, and I remember you getting in front of the camera.
Oh my God. Why would you mention that?
I will not say anything. I allow you to express it and to share it in the most edutaining or way as you prefer. Tell us a little bit more. Were you always as natural as you are now in front of the camera?
Okay, to answer that question, I would really like to go a little bit back on time. I really feel really good when I'm on stage. I haven't had the opportunity to be on that many stages, but I really feel good, to have this kind of conversation with the audience and to have this kind of vibe that you always have. I mean, you have been on several stages, so you know how the vibe is, the energy when you are with people. But then again, I felt terrible in front of a black thing staring at me, not saying anything, not having any kind of emotions, not blinking back to me. So this idea of talking to an audience that I don't know is okay for me, but not to have their reactions, to see, do I bore them?
Yeah.
Do I entertain them? Are they interested in what I'm saying? So what is it like, the vibration to be able to react on how they act, right?
Yeah.
So I was really, really afraid of that. And well, what you did is actually you kicked my beep many times, many times, like constantly, like with every of my posts that I have just posted, say, yeah, and where's the video? And where's the video? Where's your video? And then you start challenging me, saying, if you don't do the video, for God's sake, yes. And then I lost totally this fear that I had. And I love that. This is what I love most about working with you, because what you did to me is what I do with my customers and what I have done with my customers in the past. But if you have something that you do like actively, and suddenly someone is doing that same thing to you, then it's like kind of an experience. You really, this is the point from my point of view, when you start growing, when you start expanding, especially mentally, right? And yeah, and now I started doing videos, and unfortunately LinkedIn just dropped the reach at the very moment I started doing that. But I think it's coming back due to the dwell time.
Yep.
So now that I have lost my fear, I will restart doing videos latest soon.
Latest soon. I like it.
Latest
soon. But your videos are great. Your documents also have been very insightful, and people loved engaging with them. So I really like that you experiment with different shapes and forms of content. So that is really amazing. What was your biggest insight or your biggest shift when you started working more on LinkedIn? Did you have a certain idea about it? And, once we really sat down and worked closely together, it was like, really, that's how it is? Or I didn't expect that. Like something was like, huh?
To be honest, first thing is that I have experienced that trying things is a good thing to start with. Trying to do the documents, trying to say, how would you have your post? Is it a long post? Is it a short post? How many times shall I post? What kind of message do I send? Is it aggressive, or is it more passive, or is it more the questioning kind of type? And then again, I figure out that my audience is very specific when it comes to information. All of them, like I have 3,000, like something more like 3,000 people in my network, and I don't know, some 1,000 more following me, right? So the point is that all of them, they like different things. So what I do is I only post about the things that I know and that I believe that adds value to them. So they all want to have, of course, different kind of content presented differently, but they are following me and they are in my network because they like what I do and the way I say it. So when we come to the first question, when it comes to the name and the experts and the Yodas and the I don't know what, they are saying most probably from the content point of view, similar things like I am saying, most probably, but not exactly the way I am saying it. And this was actually one of the biggest learnings that I have had working with you and working with the tribe, figuring out to say, okay, there might be similar products or similar people, but not the way that I am, not the way that I am communicating, not the way that I am also getting engaged with my network.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I remember when you're like, whoa, this is awesome. And then you fully went in and you just allowed to unleash your bubbliest, happiest, craziest person that you are. I remember that there was this one post that you posted. It had a picture of a sweaty armpit because we were thinking about what else can we do to shock, to be provocative, to stand out. So you went all in and you had this gentleman in this white shirt and stuff, and it was like, ugh! But it got you so much attention. I was like, yes, she's getting it. Yes, she's courageous. Yes, she does it. So yeah, thank you for leading the way, and also then showing other people in the tribe that you're not going to get eaten by some trolls or haters or whatever. You actually started conversations, got the attention, and through that also generated leads, right?
And you know what? Due to that post, I just figure out that's what I said. Just like the horizon that I had at the very beginning suddenly became bigger, and it became differently to say I can do whatever I want to do because it's my network.
Yep.
This is my profile. You don't like it, you can go away. You don't like it, delete me. You don't like me, go find. We have again 699 999 other people that you can follow. So if we come to the 700 million, so if you don't like me, you don't like what I say, you don't like how I say it, then just unfollow me. Just go ahead and just move along. And this is also something that I teach my customers now, to say people are terribly afraid of doing something wrong instead of being terribly happy of maybe doing something right, correct? And with that post, we just push it to the next level. And from there, I moved on, not copy pasting the same thing because then it can get boring. Sure, it does, but to do my own, to realize actually and to be more comfortable about what I do is fine. And if you don't like it, I'm fine with that. Go away, move along. There are other people who liked it. So you can stay, you can go, up to you. I would love you to stay. You can have also a really controversial conversation with me. You don't need to be the same opinion. This would be actually very boring for a gladiator.
Yeah.
But even if you have another opinion, just share your opinion with me as long as it's respectful. We are here on business platform.
And objective, exactly.
I'm fine. And if you don't like it at all, just unfollow me. I'm fine.
Yeah. Good. That's a very, very mature and very wise way of looking at it, for sure. Tell us a little bit more about the tribe. How did you benefit from it? What did you like about it? What's crazy?
The tribe is amazing. I mean, we have this really, we don't know each other. Most of us, we have never met, right? But then again, we are sharing so many ideas. And then again, so many things that we can things that we can do for the other, just like when I was talking to one person and say, hey, but there was another post from someone on my network and I can connect you with that one. And then, oh yes, thank you so much. Because if you connect me, then I can do this. And then, so this entire knowledge that we are having, we do, all of us is doing something totally different, most of us especially. And then because of this variety, we suddenly multiply knowledge in a way that would have not been possible to have it only on our own. So also when I do things, or when I get when I start commenting on things, then I can see that some people from the tribe, if I have a troll, for example, on my timeline, that other people from my tribe, from your tribe, from our tribe, would start constantly fighting, just like with you, actually, with the gladiator, you have your team of legionnaires and fighting other people saying, listen, this is not the place to fight that person, because there are a lot of other persons here who will not let that happen, right? And we take care about each other. And when that happens, and thank God it doesn't happen too often, but it happens every now and then. Everyone feels protected and also pushed to the next level when it comes to knowledge and when it comes to move on with the horizons. I have had, for example, the opportunity to talk one of the tribe members saying, listen, I've been reading all of your comments, your posts, and I figure out that it's getting kind of all the same. Why don't you see any chance that you can make it a little bit of a change, or post also different things? And thank you so much, Mariana, because I wouldn't have known it. I'm so in love with what I'm doing that I have not realized that, and you're right, I have just reviewed this and I have figured out that I'm just talking about one topic. Same time, I'm wondering why I do not get more reach. Then he changed it, and then suddenly now he gets more reach. So this is how we care about each other a lot. So having this tribe is something that really is helping me a lot in my business and for my growing, and I also add value to the people in the tribe to help them growing as well.
For sure. And there are some beautiful friendships that came out of it. I remember that Jennifer was telling the story of you two catching up and having breakfast together, and then you created the hashtag LinkedIn Ladies. So it's beautiful to see that it's not only business relationships, but also friendships or I don't know, I mean, you turned into somewhat soul sisters. So this makes me happy. This is what the whole thing is all about.
We are really connected, and I'm connected to people that are not even in my place, not even in Germany, and not even like where I live. But then you start like sharing things, and then what we all have in common from to begin with is you. And so what we have also in common is that we all want to thrive. And by doing this, by having this mindset, you start listening differently, you start talking differently, you start seeing things differently, and you start care about the other much more about the other and yourself than what you have done earlier. That's for sure.
Awesome. Beautifully said. Thank you so much. Before we come to an end, let's also talk about money, or in more details, lead generation and clients. Did you generate leads when being part of the tribe? Could you also turn some of them into paying clients? Tell us.
For that, I'm going to go back to 3/4 years ago when I started working with you. By then, I have had, I think, 300 and something, let's say 400-ish people in my network. By today, like 9 months later, I am with 3,000 something in my network and about like 4,000 followers. So I think this is a good answer to you. So I hope actually that's a good answer. I started really with really a little, and then by focusing and learning and giving feedback and getting feedback and push myself through the next limit and being pushed and kicked by my tribe member, actually my mail, to say do this, do that, whatever it was. People start also listening to me. And of course, this is something that takes time. Of course, this is something that you need to consider when you start working with LinkedIn or when you start working with social media. It takes time. It's not that sometimes clients come to me and say, how can I have a viral video? I mean, dude, if there was a recipe for that,
exactly.
Everyone would have done it. I mean, we will only have viral videos. This is nothing that you can just like pull out of the hat, right? Like a rabbit. It's not working. So you need time. You need to be patient, something that I'm not too often, but I learned through all the time. And then again, when it comes to your questions, did I gain any leads? I mean, from 400 to 3,000 in less than, I think, 9 months. It's kind of a lot. And not only that, by turning some of those 3,000 to, at the moment, it's like 15 paying customers, that now I'm able actually to have my own business, like I always wanted it to have, the way that I wanted it to have, with the things that I wanted to do, that I always wanted to do. And I would have never been ever able to do that being employed with some boss or anything that would just like say you can do this or you cannot do that or whatever it would have been. So now I'm deciding on my own and I make my choices. And I can do that only because I was able to build my kind of little mini tribe and to have my own customers that pays the bill, that are happy with my work. And most important for me is that are also sharing their experiences with other partners they're having so that they start working with me.
Amazing. Yay. Ka-ching. That's awesome. Yeah. Exactly. So keep up the amazing work. I mean, it was phenomenal to see you grow and to push through all of these limiting beliefs. And you're definitely one of the most energetic and bubbliest and most, I don't know, like the person with one of the biggest hearts in the tribe. So thank you also for leading within it and empowering others to do that as well. And I look forward to meeting you in person very soon again. That will be awesome. At the end, I would like to know what kind of people should connect with you or reach out when it comes to LinkedIn. What kind of individuals?
Actually, I like to work with small and like mid-sized companies, like owners of mid-sized companies, or like people that really want to, even if the company is a bit bigger, but people that really want to make a change. People who have understood that social media is not only for cat videos and it's not Tinder and it's not only Facebook, but people who sees actually the possibilities and actually what they can do and how they can grow through LinkedIn, through social media, through social channels itself. So those kind of people are very welcome to contact me anytime. I have had, just to mention that, I have had the other day a conversation with a person who actually booked a meeting through my website, and he literally spent 3/4 of an hour explaining me why it would not work for him. So believe it or not, but from those 45 minutes that we talked, I think 38 by clock was monologue about why it wouldn't work. So my question was, why are you calling me to tell me that? So you don't need to have social selling if you don't want that. So just don't do it.
Exactly.
And then,
don't waste my time.
right? So at the very end, he said, well, now you have time to tell me whether I should do it or not. And I said, I'm not going to do that. If you just like have your mind set that it's not for you, so it's not for you. Believe it or not, what happened very next minute was he was very quiet. And then he said, maybe I should try.
Ooh.
And believe now he's one of my customers, starts working with me. He has 25 people in his company, and he said, well, I wouldn't have thought. And every day when we have a weekly calls, right? Weekly calls. And they says, well, and now that we're talking, and I said, we will have weekly calls. And he's still sending me, I can show you WhatsApp saying, I still can't believe that I signed the contract. And I say, you signed the contract. It was your choice. Apparently, you did want to work with me.
For sure. And it again shows the importance of listening, because you are so good in that. I mean, you're incredibly, I mean, you said you're not always patient. I disagree. You are patient, because being able to listen to somebody who talks trash, with all my respect, for 38 minutes, not trash, but limiting beliefs, lame excuses, BS, poor me, I hate social media. I guess it was a lot around that. Yeah, you really need to have the ability to deeply breathe in and deeply breathe out and let the person be. So good for you. Kudos.
Thank you so much. And actually, he's a nice guy. I don't know. Maybe he's
had a bad day.
Well,
you know, whatever.
I don't ever know. But I'm happy that he starts working with me.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm happy for every person, not only start working with me, but also who just like who says, okay, I want to try, just like the way I did, to say, okay, you may be right. If you're wrong, I have nothing to lose. There's nothing that you have really lost besides a little bit of money and a little bit of time. Okay, fine. But there's not like a huge loss. There's not that you would die out of it, right? So I'm happy for everyone actually wants to try and say, I'm afraid of, but okay, I'm going to give it a try. And then, widen the horizon and grow and thrive with my help. I'm happy for everyone to do that.
Yeah, for sure. So if you don't want to hear that from me, Mariana said it as well. Convince yourself. Make sure that you check her out on LinkedIn and get your digital selling or social selling to the next level. So once again, thank you so much for being here today, Mariana.
Thank you so much.
And for everybody who is watching this and says, you know what? I want to make sure that my LinkedIn also grows. I want to turn it into my main marketing platform, lead generation platform. Natalia, let's have a conversation. Then I invite you to go to coachingwithnatalia.com. Check that page out. I've written a longer letter for you. At the end of it, you're going to find an application form, because not everybody gets the opportunity to become part of this amazing tribe. So you apply, fill out the form, and tell me a little bit more about you. And my team is going to check it. Hopefully, you and I will be then having this conversation. And during that call, we will have a look at what works for you on LinkedIn, what doesn't work. And my target is to create an organic strategy for you to help you grow, to help you make an impact and become the best version of yourself. So one last time, coachingwithnatalia.com. Thanks for tuning in, and we talk very soon.